Welcome to LOA Today. Walt and Louis de Souza here. Today is Monday, December the 17th, 2018. It's 8 a.m. in New York. It is 5 a.m. in Los Angeles. It's 1 p.m. in London and in Sydney, Australia. I believe it's around midnight. So wherever you are in the world, thank you so much for tuning in and listening either to the live stream or the recording of the podcast for your daily dose of happy. And we are welcoming back a prior guest who has been on a world tour, healing the entire world all in one span of time. It's amazing how much she's healed in one time. Astrid, it's so great to have you back. How you been?
Very well, thanks, Walt. Well, yes, I did go far away from where I normally am, but tell you a bit more about that in a minute.
That's fine, no problem. And Louis, we haven't talked in a week or so, but I could just tell from the way we were launching the show and the way you were talking this morning, you're more than your chipper yourself. You're like on cloud nine or something. You're in a really high place today.
Yeah, I'm up there. When people say hi, Abraham, they say yeah, we are, and that's my answer too.
There it is. That's your motto, right? Yeah. That's great. That's good. I love it. One of the things I like doing the show is that it gives me a boost every time that I introduce the co-host for the day and introduce the topic for the day. But it especially is helpful when the co-host is grinning, ear to ear and is so excited about what's about to happen. So that just makes it even better. And we're doing another Q&A today. We're also kind of extending it back to the topic of Jinsenjutsu because, of course, that's Astrid's field of I hesitate to call it a field of expertise because I was told that you're not really a master, Astrid. So I'm not sure. What do I call this? Is this like this is your pet project? Is this your hobby? Is this your career? I don't know what to call this.
No, this is my life's work. This is
Your life's work. Okay, that's good.
yeah. And Jinshin is my vehicle to do my life's work. So I'm a student. I'm a student of Jinshin Jitsu, and I'm a lifelong student of Jinshin Jitsu, and I just happen to practice it as well.
And how's the practice going? I have to ask.
The practice is going great. I've been because I've been away, and because where I was presented some interesting challenges because it was very hot and because it was a change of diet and because I did a lot of work on myself, and it was great to be in the moment and be able to use these tools that we have to help myself in the moment. Whenever I felt something happening, I didn't feel optimally, I could use my hands to help myself. So and actually I used a lot of I was LOA, I was practicing LOA to get a better seat on a plane, or
Yay! All right.
or to make the efforting become more effortless. And that's actually something that I wanted to talk to you about, because it's hearing Abraham talk a lot about efforting as well sort of resonated with me, because in Jinshin Jitsu we talk about efforting, and efforting is the trying to or efforting of little finger. So when life seems like an effort, when it's not effortless, you can hold your little finger, and it helps that efforting become effortless. I alluded to that in the previous podcast that I did. But
right.
Really hearing Abraham say the words efforting and how to change that efforting to create your effortless reality, that's what Jinshin Jitsu is all about as well, to create an effortless reality. And when you start practicing that, you start becoming that, you start experiencing that.
You start
it's
going
really amazing.
downstream.
You start going downstream. That's right. The upstream, downstream before. Yeah, that's very, very important. By the way, I do want to remind our live listeners who are listening in the Law of Attraction Change My Life group, you are more than welcome and indeed invited to share any kinds of questions or comments or thoughts that you have with any of our co-hosts here, or even with me if you want to talk to me. I mean, God knows why you'd want to do that. But if anything you want to share, or if you have questions that you want to try to get answered, topics you want us to bring up that are pertinent to what's going on in your life, just type something in the comments section, and we will include that in the podcast. We will make it part of our conversation here today. But Louis is constantly reminding me about being effortless, so this is right up his alley as well. I mean, every single week he says something to the effect of, not his words, my words, you're trying too hard. You need to get back into that place of what you want, not what you don't want. He says that to me every single week. So I'm gonna defer to Louis on this one. Louis, what's the trick from a law of attraction perspective to being effortless?
Effortless. What can you say? 1 second. So effortless reality is all about. I had a lovely quote which I put out this weekend, and it's an amazing one. Let me dig it out quickly because I like the words. It's a bit clearer than my memory. Shouldn't take me long.
I can't believe it. I actually found something that he doesn't have a ready answer for. He has to go actually dig it out. This is really, really unusual.
It's just because I'd never really heard this before. You realize your path when you come to it because you will have all the energy, zest, and imagination you will ever need.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's true. It's when you're on the right
effortless
path,
reality.
It's a real surprise. It's like, oh wow, it's in your face. Like, this is exactly what I was wanting. You can just feel it.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
So when you get to that place, like my passion is talking about the subject, okay, and it really is effortless for me. There's no wondering how difficult it is to get here, and how I'm going to have to spend an hour chatting to Walt and all these other people and answering questions. There's none of that. It's like, hey, just sit down, be excited, and let's go. And we'll talk to anybody about anything. Let's go. And it's completely effortless for me. There's no draining of energy in me. There's no forcing it. There's no none of that. It's just, wow, I'm so excited to be here because I'm just excited to be here, not for any other reason. And I know I'm going downstream. I know it's something I enjoy, and I'm following my passion, and I have all the zest, all the imagination, all the creativity, all that I'd need by sitting here and talking to you. So effortless reality is about doing something that a lot of people struggle with, and that is turning away from things that they feel they have to do and move towards things that they love to do, and know that the universe is going to bring in the cooperative components to make it happen for you.
Yeah, that's that last bit. That's it right there. Knowing that the universe, that's the part that trips us. Because I think most of us want to believe that we want to move away from the stuff that we have to do. Most of us want to believe that we want to move toward the stuff that we enjoy doing, that's fun doing. It's the belief part. That's where we kind of trip up each time, and that can be that's where most questions come from, really. How do I get past the belief part? They don't actually think of it that way, but that's what we ask based on.
I think there's also another component here, which is when, yes, if we're doing what we love to do, and if we do it all the time, then life is amazing. But I think that, and also what Abraham says, you can go somewhere where you don't think that you want to be or don't want to do something, and then change that, change the way you look at it. And one of the things that Jin Shin Jitsu allows us to do is to harmonize that sort of I don't want to become a different way to help us enjoy something that we don't really want to do, and by changing our energy, changing the way we perceive something, the way we react to something, and reaction is actually a disharmony as well. So instead of being reactive, we're just enjoying the moment. We're just being in the now, and we're changing our environment as well, how people perceive us and react to us. And then you have a different day, no matter what you do, whether you're somewhere where you want to be or somewhere where you thought you didn't want to be, but now want to be because everything's changed. You see what I mean? It's kind of, we are in control of that, more than we think, more than we perceive, more than we more than we give ourselves credit for, I think.
Astrid, I
Well,
have a great example of that in my own life. And when I was young, I had to help with the whole tidying the table after meals and washing and putting away, etc. So my sister and I both did it together, and it became a routine. But in the beginning, I absolutely hated it. So I had to. Well, in the beginning, I was doing the dishes, washing, and then they saw the bones and everything in the water, and they made sure that I never did the washing again. So I did the. I thought that was very clever afterwards. But one thing I did, I was clearing the table, and I was drying and putting away. My sister was clearing the table and washing. So I got into the routine of drying everything and putting away with such harmony with in the beginning you're like, oh shit, I have to do this and it's really horrible, and then after a while you kind of, all the resistance goes because you have to do it, and you just got to get on with it, and you don't think about it anymore. And then I landed up literally not thinking about it anymore and mechanically just doing it. And I learned that was the first time in my life I started to learn meditation. Was drying and putting away, 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 drying and putting away. And it became such an completely automated thing that I'd removed all resistance to, and it became such a beautiful thing. I didn't quite look forward to it, but I didn't not look forward to it. It was a very neutral place. And I learned that was the first time I did meditation. Movement in meditation is what Tai Chi is also called. But it was very, very therapeutic for me, and I learned that along the way, because it's still the mind. You were doing something, and you could just let everything else go. So it was really quite an amazing place.
And it brought you into the now. It brought you into the
absolutely.
now. You were totally focused on what you were doing, something very simple but repetitive, and it brought you into the now. And these sort of simple daily things that we need to do can very much become a meditation, whether you walk or whether you walk the dog, or whether, and Abraham talks about walking the dog. Go for a walk with the dog. And
well, I've tried that, except my cats don't like to be walked very much, so I have to go without the cats.
Yeah, absolutely. But that, I think that's the main thing, is that it brings you into the now, and going into a place of work where you have challenges, just taking things as they come, small steps, sort of segmenting, that's a really, I think that's a great step to bigger steps. It's a small step to bigger steps. Yeah.
Well, we got everybody's attention on this one because Suraj, for instance, said, I guess effortless, maybe it is fulfilling your passion. So when you fulfill your passion, everything happens naturally. Clearly, people are wanting this. So Shinshin Jitsu, I mean, how do you use that to get into that effortless place? Because that's what you're saying we can do. Like, that's great to have a technique you can just do to get there. How do you do it?
Well, as I said before, when you feel that you're efforting and you need time for me, and you need a bit of space to let things to come back into the now, then you can start with your little finger, because that is harmonizing, trying to's and efforting. But on the other hand as well, if your mind is taking over and you're thinking too much about things, then you can hold your thumb. So it's going back to holding the fingers, and then doing other exercises as a daily exercise. But you can start aligning the energy to a more harmonious connection with your inner self, which is what Abraham talks about. Your outer self and your inner self. Your inner self is always knowing what it is that's best for you, what it is that you want, and always bringing you those insights and sort of inspirations. But when your mind is overworked, you're not listening to that. So that's why Jinshin Jitsu helps calm the mind, because it's kind of realigning, reharmonizing your whole being. So your mind, your emotions, your physical, your spiritual.
And I have to
And
say,
that's a very
it also,
practical way to do that. Mm.
well, it may be practical, but it also sounds so simplistic. Holding a finger, holding a thumb actually accomplishes all that. It seems bizarre. But then again, I've heard
Yeah,
enough
yeah,
stories.
Walt, I want you to stand on your head first, and then I need to make it difficult for you, then you'll believe it. You know,
Oh, okay.
your
So it
medicine
is.
needs to be vile, then you'll know it works, okay?
You mean medicine isn't supposed to be vile?
You know, Walt, very, very often when people when I say to people, you know, hold your thumb or hold your finger or whatever, um, they will say, oh yeah, I did that and it worked, or oh, I did that and it didn't work, and what am I supposed to feel, and what is this supposed to, you know, you speak of it as if it's life changing, and yeah, it is. It can be life changing, but um, there is also the sense that what this does is the more you hold your thumb, the more you hold your fingers, the more aware you become of what's happening. So when you first start, this is like practicing the law of attraction. When you first hear this, you know, you hear it, but you don't actually practice it. You need to take small steps to get the hang of it, to really get it. And it's the same with holding the fingers, with practicing Jin Shin Jitsu. I can tell you, yes, you know, Jin Shin Jitsu will help this and this and this, but unless you experience it, you probably won't really believe me until something dramatic happens. So
Mm.
if something really dramatic happens, like say you've got stomach cramp and I tell you to hold your thumb and your stomach cramp goes in about 30 seconds, then you might think, maybe what Astrid says, there is something in it.
Yeah. Hmm.
And well, I've experienced that. I've had stomach cramping and I've held my thumb and, you know, stomach cramping has gone. So as we become better and better, then we become more attuned to the subtle differences that start happening. But it's really about staying with it and just doing it, and just being it, and then, you know, and then it becomes a cumulative effect. And I spoke about, you know, how in the last podcast I spoke about how someone held their middle finger when their partner was feeling a bit grumpy, and you know that changed everything. So these subtleties can be quite striking, really.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I mean, we react well whenever we have a dramatic result that comes relatively quickly, because no
Mm.
matter what it is, I mean, even if it's standing on the head, I'm not quite sure who practices that. Maybe Louis wants me to start a new practice. But you know, regardless of what
I
the
do it.
practice
I do
is,
it.
do you stand on your head every day?
It's
I
very
do
good for the
headstands.
heart.
Yeah.
It's very good for the heart
I,
to
I, I I
raise
suspect
your
he just
hips above your heart in
I
yoga.
suspect Louis
In
just
yoga.
does it. Louis just does it just because if he has a frown, he figures if he stands on his head that his frown turns into a smile. So he's like
Wow.
Well,
training
Yeah, you
himself.
got it.
Louis does it because he's been practicing it for a very long time and he's become very good at it. And he feels good when he does it. And that's kind of, you know, that's kind of the idea. You kind of you move through that time when you're not very good at something, and you move through it and you move through it and you keep practicing, and practice makes perfect, but practice also makes effortless realities.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
so what you're doing is you've got an old code that you've got running there. So it's a thought process, and your thought will be, you know, if I want to do this, it's rather difficult, and I need to put a lot of effort in it, and that's a program. And that program is a thought, and the thought is an active vibration, and the active vibration runs in your life. And you have all these challenges with many different things because of the active vibration. But when you start following the rocket of desire of what you want from what you don't want, you start creating new programs, while Abram's always saying, you know, tell a new story because that old one's not helping you very much. So you would say something like, you know, things work for me quickly and easily, you know, and I like that idea. So I'm going to say that to myself a million times. get that to become an active vibration, let that start manifesting in my life. And Diedra, yes, I completely agree with you. I hope your technical difficulties are over. It does become a pure joy along the way. You missed the
Jill just asked a question.
first few minutes.
Right at the top there, she's got a question. Forgive me, I missed the first few minutes and the initial speaking of holding the fingers. Can you demonstrate? Is there a particular way in which you hold the fingers?
I will let Astrid do that.
Okay. Okay. So the most important thing is start with the left hand. So we're going to wrap our right hand around the left thumb, and we're just going to wrap the hand around and then relax the hands. Okay. So there's no pulling, pushing, manipulating or massage. It's just wrap around and then relax. So wrap around and then relax, and then the middle finger wrap around like that and then relax. Wrap around and then relax and hold for a few minutes each finger. Okay. So you just
Astrid, do you want to go through the attitudes?
Yes, we can do that again. So we hold the thumb for the attitude of worry, the index finger for the attitude of fear, the middle finger for the attitude of anger, ring finger for grief, and little finger for efforting or trying to's. Okay?
What we're saying with attitudes, guys, is if you hold the thumb, you will release worry. If you hold the index finger, you will release fear. If you hold
so you harmonize. Yeah, you harmonize.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. So I'm just trying to give an idea.
No worries.
No worries. Yeah, no worries. I like doing the double worries.
Oh, grab both thumbs. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I never even thought you could do that, but you're right, you can do that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now we have a question here that we get on a lot of law of attraction podcasts, and we get them in all the groups regularly. It's a very common question, but I'm wondering if also we can answer it from a Jin Shin Jitsu point of view, which is Anita asking, can I attract my ex back? We have lots of people, usually younger women, wanting to get back an ex-lover who's, for whatever reason, they split off from, and they want to be able to attract them back. Can we use Jin Shin Jitsu to help us get there?
Well, my sense with that is that what Jin Shin Jitsu will do for you is it will allow interesting word, it will allow you to be your beautiful self, and by being harmonized, by not being worried, by not being anxious, by not being angry, by not being sad, by not being efforting, pushing, you might find that because you are this way, you become much more attractive, and not only to your ex, but to a lot of other people. And
More
so
importantly,
by
to
the
yourself.
time, yes,
Mm-hmm.
to yourself. But what might happen, and it might take a bit of time, a bit of practice, but what might happen is that you become attractive to a lot of other people, and you might find that you don't even want your ex back.
Wouldn't that be a shock?
Well, because you might experience other people who are showing interest in you, and I mean, I don't know the whole story, but in terms of Jin Shin Jitsu, it's that it changes you, it changes your thinking, it changes, it changes things. But I'm not giving a time, and I'm not guaranteeing, and I'm not saying anything. It's just that it is possible that could happen, because we have seen, Louis and I have seen how quickly people can change when they become harmonized.
Because that's what it's about. It's becoming harmonized. So when things aren't working out, we're out of vibrational alignment, as Abraham described it. We're out of harmony, as you're describing it. and getting into
Yes,
the harmony.
yes.
That's key. And you can't accomplish anything you want until you get into that alignment, until you get into that harmony.
And it's being in the vortex, being in the vortex, and that's what Abraham says, and Jinshin
Mhm.
Jitsu allows you to be in the vortex more often, more easily. So from a perspective of the vortex, you might not you have a different perspective.
Very true. Now,
So,
Suraj
so Walt,
has oh, you go ahead. Go ahead, Louis.
Walt, I have a definition for faith.
Ah, okay.
Mm.
So if you want to know what faith is really about, it is trusting that your vortex, which is an accumulation of everything you want, your non-physical vortex of everything you want, knows exactly how to get what you want, can bring the cooperative components, people, places, and events to you so that you can experience and get what you want. So if you want to have faith, if you want to have trust in anything, it is that your higher self knows exactly what's best to you. The best way to get in contact with your higher self is through release and allowing. Okay? So getting in contact with yourself is the best way to find out if your ex is the right person, if that's the right way to go, because once you're in contact with it, the cooperative components with that person or another will fall into place beautifully. So it's all about letting go and faith and trust.
Yeah, that letting go process is it shows up so often in so many different ways when we're talking about the overall subject of law of attraction, but apparently also
Mm.
with the Jinshin Jitsu as well.
Yeah.
Suraj, Suraj had an interesting question, and I'm not even going to try to answer this one. I'm going to let you guys answer it. He says, Astrid, Louis and Walt, excuse me. I'm damn sure, he says, you guys are working on the aging process and manifestations. Please let us know the process for aging process because you guys are looking younger and younger every day.
Oh my God.
Oh, thank you. You get my vote.
Well, Jinshin Jitsu is anti-aging. Being in joy is anti-aging. Being in peace is anti-aging. When you are at peace, when you are happy, when you are content, when you are satisfied, when you are happy, when you are ready, when you
When you are
are
happy, when you are happy,
when
when you
you're
are
happy,
happy.
when you when you
That could be
harmonize, when you're in alignment, when everything is effortless. Oh my gosh, you just, yeah, you have more energy, you just feel great. And of course it's anti-aging because all your cells are like, yippee. Yeah. So yeah, the aging process is very much sped up by feeling worry, by being anxious and in fear, by living in anger, by living in grief, by not letting go, because grief is not letting go, by not letting go, and by efforting. All these things create, I mean, create incredible aging. So yes, the key to staying young is the constant regeneration of energy, the constant regeneration, and also the joy, being happy and being regenerated, revitalized, having that, streaming that energy through all aspects of ourselves, physically, mentally, and emotionally.
why why you were describing that, and a kind of an mnemonic phrase came to my mind. That is, if you're having trouble letting go, hang on to a finger instead.
Yeah, Walt,
Yeah.
I'm going to quote you. I love it. Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because not letting go, in terms of energy, in terms of Jinshin Jitsu, is not exhaling. So the exhale, so when you hold a finger, you can also say, you can also exhale and then say in your mind, I let go, so that then I can inhale and receive pure energy. Exhale, let go. Inhale, I receive. And that's very calming. But the exhale, letting go, when you breathe out, you let go. When you don't breathe out properly, you are holding on. You are holding on.
Astrid,
So fingers, yeah.
Sorry, if you want to continue that thought.
No.
No? So Astrid, Suraj has asked something about diet and aging. So I wanted to answer that quickly. So I had 4 epiphanies in my life when it came to health and anti-aging. And number 1 was, you are what you eat. So that was amazing to me. It was really an epiphany when I was younger, and I spent many years studying food, nutrition, diet, herbs, Bach remedies, etc., 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 tissue salts. Had great improvements from using them all, and they really, really helped me. Then suddenly I came across the idea that you are what you drink. And I realized that even your food has got water in it, and that your body's made up of 70% water, and the quality of water that you drink and how you drink and when you drink it is of immense importance to you. So I started realizing that you are far more what you drink than what you eat. And that was a great epiphany. I learned a huge amount, and the best book I can recommend on that is
Your Body's Many Cries
Your
for
Body's
Water.
Many Cries for Water. It's exceptional. Go out and get it. Everybody should have it. And then the next epiphany I had was, you are what you breathe. Now you breathe far more often than you drink and you eat. Huge amount more. So I used to have this little ditty I used to say to people. I said, which one of those 3 would you die of first if you stopped doing? Breathing, liquid, or nutrition? And of course, the answer is breathing. And so breathing is far more important and far greater benefit to your health if you do it correctly. Because I had asthma, etc., I had to learn a huge amount about breathing. Just 1 second, I'm going to clear my throat loudly, so I'm going to mute myself.
That's always a polite thing to do, yeah. So we try not to clear our throats into the ears of all our listeners. It's just general politeness.
I need to give him an exercise for that.
Is there an
The
exercise
exercise
for
is
Yes.
yeah.
Well, don't
we
just leave us
don't have
hanging.
to-
What is it? Come on, say what
Well,
it is.
let Louis finish first.
Oh, okay.
Let me finish. We can go into that. That's correct.
Yeah.
Nicely filled in there, Walt, by the way. So the final one, of course, is you are what you think.
True.
And the interesting thing about my epiphanies is they went from physical to non-physical exactly in that arena. I went from nutrition, which is very physical, to liquid, which is less physical, to air, which is very less physical, to thought, which is nebulously nothing. Okay? And I started to realize that the most powerful things in your life are non-physical. And if you want to look for truth, if you want to know who you are and where you're going, you need to look at the non-physical. So that was a quick answer to nutrition. Yes, it is important. And if you add all 4 of these epiphanies I had together, you have a tremendous toolbox of things that will help your health massively. I am 51 years old, just for the reference.
So- You're just trying to make people jealous, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Be like me, do what I do.
And I'm well, I'm 21 again. So
I like that.
and again. Yes, and the other thing is, the interesting thing is that when you become aware of your body's needs and the signs that your body's giving you, then with Jinshinjutsu and with LOA and with all the things that you do, it's interesting what then you are attracted to eat or drink, or and what can fall away. So if you're addicted to caffeine and you start listening to how your body reacts to caffeine, then you might stop drinking caffeine just like that, because it doesn't serve you anymore. And this is not just about food. This is about things that don't serve you can be people or things or, you know, experiences or workplaces or things you don't want. Don't you think, Louis? You're looking a little bit.
I have had many experiences with intolerances, okay? And I've never liked the idea. I want to be tolerant to everything. That's the idea I like.
But I'm not saying that you're not tolerant. I'm just saying that
I'm saying I like coffee, but I know it's not very good for me because it affects me in this way and that way. But I want my cake and I want to eat it. So I want my coffee and I want it to be good for me. And the only thing that's making it bad for me is my thought process.
Oh, I see.
My beliefs.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't cut out anything anymore. I used to have milk, used to give me indigestion. I have enough milk again. I used to cut out biscuits because they gave me the coffee throat, but now I have my biscuits and I have my coffee throat because I like it. So I'll take Astrid's.
But if something doesn't serve you anymore, would you still? I mean,
want to find a way of
like
making it serve me. I want to find a way of having my cake and eat it.
Okay, well, that's something we can explore.
Yes. I
It's
don't
really
like cutting out anything because the big problem with cutting things out is I've cut this out, I cut that, I cut that, I cut that out, I cut that out, I cut that out. Oh my gosh, my life is boring. I can't taste anything and nothing's enjoyable anymore. And I don't want to cry. Okay, so I don't want to be there. And there's many people that are there. Many people. They start cutting one thing out and then there's another thing and there's another thing and there's another thing and there's another thing. I don't agree with any of that.
Okay, but you know, if someone's having 10 cups of coffee a day, then at some point they probably realize that they're not even enjoying the coffee anymore. They're having it because it's a habit and their thought process changes, and therefore if they have 1 coffee a day or 2 cups of coffee a day, then the 10 cups of coffee is not serving them anymore. So they, you know, this changes, they can enjoy their coffee more, but it's you see what I'm getting? That's what I kind of meant.
Excess in anything is troubling and causes challenges. Sometimes, you know, you can have great thoughts all the time and you can excess in them and it's not going to be too harmful to you. So to me, it's all about, you know, some people cut out bacon and I think life would be not worth living if I didn't have bacon.
My wife and I would agree with you, by the way.
But, you know, some people would think it's the worst thing on the planet that I'm doing. And, you know, I don't mind. You know, they can have their opinion and I enjoy them having their opinion. But to me, there's certain things that I really don't want to cut out. I really don't want to cut out. I want to find ways of making my body resistant and strong and being able to deal with everything. So if Abram gives it the kind of...
Yes, but you use the word resistant, which is you want your body to become resistant. It's like, what?
Okay. I agree with you. Let me rephrase that.
See?
Let me rephrase that. I want my body to be able to absorb and flow with everything.
You want your body to be nourished by the things that you like to eat. So even if you have a Mars bar in the afternoon, your body's going to be nourished by that Mars bar because of what you think of while you're eating that Mars bar. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, if you go and eat McDonald's every day, and I don't know if you remember that Super Size Me video that was so
yes,
YouTube video.
This
guy goes out for a month and, you know, he gets horrendous and his liver starts suffering and blah, 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 blah. But if you went out with a thought that your body's intelligent and it'll be able to absorb all the best parts of the hamburger or whatever it is you're eating, then your body will adjust appropriately as long as you don't have trains thinking, oh, maybe it is bad for me. Okay. And,
I totally agree with that.
It's challenging because we're so taught to push against things in our life. You know, push against too much sugar, too much tobacco, too much, and we're always pushing against things. And of course, if you understand the law of attraction, you're just going to draw more of it to you.
There is a very interesting story that relates to what you're saying, Louis, and that was one of the Jinshin Jitsu instructors a long time ago when I was doing one of my practitioner courses. She had a client who she lived. She's now passed on, but she lived in California, I think, and she had a client who worked in a lab, in a basement, and there was no light, and I think they worked with some sort of toxicity, some sort of chemicals, and this person was suffering tremendously because they had to live, or they had to work in that environment, and he had lots of chest issues and bust line issues and breathing issues and all the rest of it. And so she gave him Jinshin Jitsu treatments, but she also gave him the thought that in every single molecule of air there might be pollution, but there is also, as you said, an element of pure oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
In everything, there will be an aspect of purity, whether it's food we eat or what we drink or the air that we breathe. And she told him to consider just focusing on that pureness every time he took a breath or received a breath, to focus in on that pureness. And he did. And he said, she said that it changed him completely. He didn't have, over time, he didn't have these breathing issues and these sort of issues. And that, that is something that is really interesting, that just a shift in a way, it's what you do want is just refocus, that slight shift. And you can do it for anything. Just a slight shift will change everything. It's nearly like a feeling. It's nearly like fine tuning your compass or that frequency. When Abraham talks about you're on the wrong frequency, and you just shift the dial a bit, and you just shift it a little bit, and then that feeling completely changes. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's true. A couple stories along this line. First, Diedra shared one. She says, excuse me, having your cake and eating it too reminds me of Neville's mentor, Abdullah, who ate wherever he enjoyed. Neville asked, how could he do that? And Abdullah replied that he, Neville, could not do it because of his thinking, that certain foods were bad for him. He had to change his thinking. So there's the same concept once again. And I'm also reminded of the story that Abraham tells in the book, The Astonishing Power of Emotions, Let Your Feelings Be Your Guide. This is in the chapter about weight loss, which of course is a big issue for a lot of people. And I don't mean to make that a play on words. I mean, literally, it's a big issue for people. But the story that they tell is about a person who's dealing with thoughts and fears regarding eating ice cream, because that's one of the taboos, right? You're not supposed to eat a lot of ice cream if you're trying to lose weight. And Abraham says, well, your urge to find a quiet place to sit while you eat something is becoming quite strong. And while you are trying to fight the urge to follow through on your impulse, it is much easier to just give in to it and get something to eat. As you are standing in line at the ice cream counter, you notice the slender people waiting in line with you. They are annoying. And as you are annoyed, your urge for the ice cream grows stronger still. Now, before we continue with the details of this example, and before we offer guidance to assist you in improving your situation, we want to explain something that most people do not understand and, in fact, have a hard time believing. Whether you gird up your willpower and walk out of the ice cream parlor, or whether you go ahead and select and eat a large tub of ice cream, there is absolutely no difference in the effect of one of those actions over the other. Even if we are talking about 1,000 days of walking out as compared to 1,000 days of eating a tub of ice cream, boy, you're going to be sick after that. The action choice of one or the other makes no difference. It is not your action that matters, it is your vibration. It is not your action that matters, it is your vibration. It is not your action that makes you fat, it is your vibration. It is not what you are doing that makes the difference. It is how you are feeling about what you are doing. So even my comment, which was comical, was missing the point. Because the point is, if I assume the idea that you're going to be sick after 1,000 days, then guess what? You're going to be sick after 1,000 days. And if you assume you're not going to be sick after 1,000 days, you're not going to be sick after 1,000 days. It's all about the alignment. I remember Wendy Dillard, when she was doing the podcast with me, she and I did some stuff out of this book, as did David Bartkey. But when we got to this section, Wendy said, I remember that I must have read that, but I don't remember the section itself, which means I read it quickly. I probably just skimmed right over it because as soon as I saw it, I said, well, that can't be true, so I'll just move on to the part that's true. And it's kind of an extreme example, but it does illustrate that fact really well. We just kind of have these little resistances about, well, yeah, I agree with everything except for that one part there, so I'll just skip that part. And it's the most important part. It's the most important part.
Yeah.
It's like when you're not in the vibrational vicinity of what you want, you can't see it.
Yeah.
And that's why Abraham repeats a lot of what he says, because you
No
need to
kidding.
hear it a few times before you can hear it.
Sometimes we're a
Before
little
you can
slow,
get it. And we do that. We do the same thing in Jinshin Jitsu. There's a lot of information, and you go to the same courses, and you hear different things depending on your development, depending on your knowledge, depending on where you are at. But it's the same information.
Talking about Jinshin Jitsu, this is the book you get when you go on the 5-day course. And if you have a look, there's just a diagram of a human with a few lines and some direction of where to place your hands. And the other side is empty, and you just fill it with your own notes. And that's literally the entire book. So you go to a seminar, and all you get is a book with blank on one side and a stick man on the other, kind of thing. And you go through the same book again and again and again. I mean, as I've done the 5-day course 9 times already, and I've done 3 days and or 4 3 days now. And you just get, Jinshin Jitsu. The only way to really learn it is to go on a course. It's very, very difficult to talk to somebody and try get them to grasp it, because when you've got somebody working on you in these courses, you really start feeling how it is, because you get 2 people on one, on the one person, and you really get to start understanding how it feels to be treated again and again over the 5 days, and you really feel different at the end of it all. It's really amazing.
But on the other hand, you a lot of people do go on 5-day courses, and they, it can be, it's a lot of information, but it's very transformational for most people. But that's not to say that you can't start working on yourself and experiencing the benefits of Jinshin Jitsu by working on yourself. Because not everyone's ready to go on a 5-day all out, and that's what this is, basically that's what is so amazing about Jinshin Jitsu, is that you can start working on yourself in very simple ways, but you can have dramatic effects over a long period of time, over a short period or a long period or whatever. It's something you already do, so why not do it consciously, and so that you get more results, So, Louis.
It's the way I started, is by, holding my low 816 and getting my warts to vanish on my foot, and I was blown away. 5 days, and the warts that had been there for 2 years vanished, and then my athlete's foot cleaned up as well. So I was just totally blown away, and it was just something I did at home myself.
Yeah.
But there is so much more, step by step, if you go through the process. So you go on a 1-day that Astrid and I teach, and then you can go on the 5 days, and it's just a small step by step process if you're interested.
Yeah.
We actually
and
have.
Actually, sorry, Walt.
I'm sorry. Finish your thought, because I was going to go in a different direction slightly. So go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to give Louis, for his to clear his throat. I was just going to give him the
High 19
exercise. Yeah, this is called the high 19. It's on the upper arm, and you just hold your upper arm to. It's good for singers as well. So it gives you a clear voice, and it clears the throat and all the rest.
Which releases the tension in the back.
Yeah. So
I'll have
that
to look
was
it up.
just before I forgot.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, that's good.
I'm doing it.
Hey, you got me doing it, so this got to be something good here. We actually have two people in the group of live listeners, people listening to the live stream, who have very, very similar names. One is Suraj and the other is Saraj. And you were replying to some of the stuff that Suraj had written, but Saraj has written some interesting stuff too. And he asked a question. He said, "It is all about the alignment for sure. I remember I saw a story when a mother pays for her daughter to have liposuction for her stomach. But when you saw her in recovery, she was eating a large pizza. What would you suggest then?"
Oh, that's
Interesting
for
question.
Louis.
You know what I would suggest? I'd mind my own business.
I love it.
Ah, yeah, I knew I should hand it over. Okay, okay. Can I just say from my Jinshinjutsu sort of perspective, um, when you don't change the energy from my Jinshinjutsu, I said before, the body follows what the energy is doing. Okay, so say someone goes to the doctor because they've got very bad bunions on their feet, and the doctor says, right, we need to take those off, so we're going to have to, you're going to have surgery. And they go and have surgery, they have their bunions removed, and then a few years later the bunions come back. Well, of course they're going to come back, because actually when you don't change the energy of the body, and the key to the bunions is the shoulder, the back of the shoulder, if you don't release the tension there, your bunions are going to come back. So when we look at the body, there are certain specific areas of tension that create certain physical issues. And so what I would say is, yes, liposuction for the stomach, and if you don't change the energy, then it's probably going to come back. So that's from my perspective.
And changing the
Yeah.
energy means changing the vibration. Changing the vibration
Exactly.
means changing the thinking and becoming more in harmony with who you are. So it's important to go through those steps again and again, so people understand where at the beginning, where it starts from.
Yeah.
It's truly remarkable how many things in life start that one really important premise, and that is getting into that best feeling place you can find. Because that's where all the good stuff happens. Yeah, well, that's why we call it your daily dose of happy, because we know
Absolutely.
this is important stuff. We got to be doing this every single day throughout our day.
And I think what's important about what you say, Walt, is to remember that if you're on the one end of the spectrum, that you don't need to go to the other end of the spectrum in one jump. What Abraham gives us is that 22-step ladder, that just go to the next best feeling place, go to the next best feeling place, go to the next one, and then eventually, you could get to from where you are to the place of joy. But you don't have to go, because then you will just feel, oh, I hate to say the word, but disappointed. And we don't like the word
I don't believe I
disappointed.
can do it.
Yeah, or you just don't believe you can do it. So step by step, little steps, little steps. And if you do feel that you're in a place of, say, I don't know, boredom, or dare I say depression or whatever, then use this tool, use the tool of the fingers to help you get to the next best feeling place, and then the next best feeling place, and then the next best feeling place. And eventually you could hit that feeling of joy, and then you want to stay in that feeling of joy more often. So use the tool more often.
As possible.
Milk it, yeah.
Yeah, milking
So
it.
there are practical ways to help you get to your best feeling place. And it's not always easy, but that doesn't mean to say that it's not possible.
No, it's not easy, but on the other hand, it's not like you said, we don't have to get there all in one jump. We can go incrementally. So it isn't about being happiest right now. It's just getting happier. Get happier, get into a better feeling place. What's better than where you are right now? That's what you're going for.
Yeah.
If you
And
make it
also,
one step better, you just succeeded. So congratulations. That's good.
yeah. And also what Abraham reminds us is if you're being too specific, go more general, go more general. Things are getting better, but go general. How do you go general? Well, just go general. I'm okay. I don't have to do everything now. I don't have to be happy now. I just have to be just a little bit happier.
That's particularly appropriate, I think, for the young lady who earlier on asked about getting her ex back. That's a great time to go general, because when you go general, you're not nearly as likely to get hung up on, oh, I don't have him back. I miss him so much. I'm hurt. My heart is broken, or whatever it is that's bugging you. When you're going general, it means that you're not attached to, oh my God, he has to be back by tomorrow or my life is over. It's more like,
exactly.
Wouldn't it be nice if I had somebody who fulfilled me and made me happier and put me in a good place? Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't it be nice as key?
Keywords.
Well, it's also an Abraham process. I think it's process number 13 or 14. It's a good one. Wouldn't it be nice if you just repeat that phrase over and over again and then fill in the blank every single time with a different variation on the theme? And do that for like 5 minutes. Do it with a friend. Tom Wells and I did that one time for an entire show. By the end of the show, I swear to God, they were scraping us off the ceiling. We were so high.
That's great.
Sounds
It was
fantastic.
fun. It was one of the most fun shows I've ever done, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we were just flying. It was like, you feed into the other person, so one person says, well, wouldn't it be nice if, and that makes the other person think, oh yeah, and wouldn't it be nice if, and you just kind of keep playing off it over and over and over again. So yeah, it's a great game to play with a friend or a lover, or just a relative, maybe even a relative that you haven't really seen eye to eye with.
Walt likes doing it with a mirror, doesn't he?
That's true.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Mirror exercises. I'm not sure I'd phrase it the way he did, but yes. Mirror exercises are a wonderful way to not only build up your self-esteem and learn to love yourself more and feel good about yourself, but it's a great way to give yourself a pep talk. By doing things like that, you look into the mirror and you say, well, wouldn't it be nice if today went actually better than yesterday? And wouldn't it be nice if when it goes better, this wonderful thing happened that I really have been wanting to have happen? And wouldn't it be nice? And you just keep doing it over and over again like that. Do mirror exercises for even just a couple minutes a day. And we were talking about that last night with Anne-Marie and Mike, who were my co-hosts for last night. Mike has been doing it now for 7 weeks, I think he said it was. And in that 7-week period, he has seen tremendous shifts going on in his life. He has been able to uproot and release a number of different kinds of resistances that have been haunting him for a long period of time. He's feeling happier. He's feeling more relaxed. He's also a Reiki master, and he's finding that his ability to flow energy with Reiki has improved dramatically, all from just doing mirror exercises. It's a very powerful tool, no doubt.
Right, I'm gonna do mirror exercises for every day, and I'll report back next time.
I tell you, the only reason that I decided to do it the first time, which was last spring, was because Jack Canfield, one of the presenters in The Secret, said that he used it to eliminate the negative self-talk going on in his head. And he said, you do it for 30 days and the self-talk goes away. So I did it for 30 days, and you know what? The negative self-talk went away. It really does work.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Interesting that Jack Canfield had that.
Yeah.
But we all have, we all need to get rid of the little
absolutely
chatter bug.
The chatter.
1 minute left.
Chatterbox.
Yep.
Chatterbox.
I know the time is just slipping away here. That's the only bad part. We enjoy these podcasts so much that we don't really want to have to, let them go at some point. But yeah, we're down to the last minute, so we have to let it go. But this has been great. Astrid, first of all, thank you for taking the time to rejoin us after your wonderful worldwide tour. I mean, we must be almost a letdown compared to what you had there, because that was just fabulous what you were able to do there.
No, this is fun. This is great fun.
Oh, good.
Thank
well,
you.
I'm glad to hear that. We'll have to have you come back. Come back anytime you want to, because we love talking about this stuff with you.
Thank you. I love talking to you guys and everyone.
And Louis? I can't wait to do this next week, because next week, I mean, I suspect that you're going to find a new way for me to get a smile on my face in addition to standing on my head, so I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I've got more people that I'm thinking of putting on. So
Oh, good.
that they'll all come with their different angles, which is great.
All right. Well, as soon as you let me know who those people are going to be, I'll make sure we announce them in the events for people who are part of the Law of Attraction Change My Life group, and of course, we'll always share them with our recorded podcast listeners. So, thank you guys again. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in, and we will see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day.